We have a lot of stuff to dive into today, folks. From the latest in trades with the Montreal Canadiens to the newly enlightened and reimagined Jonathan Toews. We have some tweets that I wanted to go out there and read that dive into the latest scoops for us. And they all come to us from one Twitter account, NHL Rumor Report, who has been going out there on a tear the past few weeks, posting a whole bunch of updates from various NHL analysts and allowing us all to get these updates in a screenshotable, easy-to-digest format. So, let's start things off by talking about the latest with the Habs. Chris Johnston wrote about in The Athletic earlier this week that the Montreal Canadiens are open to moving one of their 2025 firsts and defenseman Logan Mailloux this summer. Now, this ain't surprising. I don't think anybody reading this tweet or getting this update is gonna feel revolutionized in the same way that Jonathan Toews is mentally from this new information. But ultimately, it does confirm what a lot of Canadiens fans were thinking about heading into the draft, that the Montreal Canadiens have enough draft picks. They have enough young guys. They have enough players that are on the up and up and in the pipeline. Is there a need to get any more? Well, maybe. But I don't think it's as desperate as some other teams around the NHL. And so, for the Montreal Canadiens, there certainly is a chance here to get some value on the team right now if they were to move one of their 16th or 17th overall draft picks. There are a number of guys that they could take in that spot, but, of course, you got 2 picks in a row. There isn't necessarily the biggest need to make those picks. Now, as for Logan Mailloux, he has been in a pretty interesting spot where there have been enough guys on the right side of the Canadiens' blue line that have taken up spots. Obviously, David Savard is leaving, but with Mailloux, he has taken his recent opportunities in the AHL and tried to make things work. I will say, this previous season with the AHL's Laval Rocket was not as productive as last season for Mailloux, and with the development and growth of a guy like David Reinbacher, you could also say there isn't really that much room. Not to mention Adam Engstrom, who also happens to be a very strong Laval Rocket option and who could potentially be challenging for a Habs spot. I'm not saying it's guaranteed. I think Engstrom is a little bit of a longer shot there, but it's possible. Logan Mailloux, though, he has draft pedigree, former first-round pick, a guy that probably wasn't supposed to be a first-round pick because he had renounced his draft status back in 2021. So, of course, when Marc Bergevin took him with the 31st overall pick, it was a very controversial draft pick. Now, 4 years later, he is in a pretty difficult spot amongst a talented pool of Canadiens prospect D-men, and Mailloux could be dangled around in some sort of a trade if a team wants a right-handed defenseman who has offensive potential and who needs to grow into his NHL projectability a little bit more. So, Logan Mailloux, definitely an option for teams if you were to package both a first-round pick, either 16th or 17th overall, with Mailloux. That seems to be a reasonably good value deal for any team that's looking to get younger and that could be shelling out some of their top assets. Cough, cough. The New York Islanders and Bo Horvat, but of course, there are really a number of options that the Canadiens could go out there and try to consider when it comes to making a trade like that. If you're a Montreal Canadiens fan, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Who it is do you think the Montreal Canadiens should play on their blue line next season, and if Logan Mailloux is a part of that? If he should get moved alongside of a first-round pick, what do you think the value of a center is that the Canadiens could receive? Is it a center that they end up making a trade for? Who really knows? Which teams do you think would use a guy like Logan Mailloux more? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. With that in mind, I wanted to switch gears a little bit and start talking about Jonathan Toews once again. Because you had some updates from the fourth period as well as Elliotte Friedman that go out there and give us a little bit of a hint as to where it is Jonathan Toews might end up signing. Take a look at this tweet. The fourth period says that Jonathan Toews suitors include the Jets, the Avalanche, and the Toronto Maple Leafs. He also had Elliotte Friedman speaking out on the podcast 32 Thoughts that the Anaheim Ducks will take a run at trying to sign Jonathan Toews. So right away, man, the guy takes a whole bunch of years off, he heads over to India, he takes these mud baths, he gets stuff placed into his, and he goes through a lot of self-induced vomiting. There are a number of things that Jonathan Toews has done in India that I think a lot of us folks over here in North America, or elsewhere in Europe if you're over there, a lot of us have not really decided to do for ourselves. And now, after all these years of rehabbing mentally and physically, he is in a spot where there are a bunch of NHL teams that could be interested in knocking on his door. The Anaheim Ducks, yeah, of course it is Joel Quenneville's team going out there and wanting to bring Jonathan Toews back. What's next? They get Patrick Kane too? And they get Mitch Marner too? I mean, the Anaheim Ducks, for as much as we like to talk about their hiring decisions, they could be a very good team very quickly if they get all the right pieces falling into their laps. Jonathan Toews in Disneyland, oh boy, that's going to be interesting. But the Jets, the Maple Leafs, as well as the Avalanche all make sense, relatively speaking, here too. Winnipeg, because of course Captain Series is from that area. The Toronto Maple Leafs, because everybody who is a big-named free agent always gets linked to the Toronto Maple Leafs. And then the Colorado Avalanche, if they're going to lose out on Brock Nelson, they would probably like to get another center back, and Jonathan Toews could be in that spot. Not saying that he would be guaranteed to being as effective as Brock Nelson. I mean, Nelson had, 30 goals this year? That's a pretty high bar to go out there and try to live up to if you're Jonathan Toews and you hadn't played an NHL season in a while. Or no, excuse me, Brock Nelson didn't have 30 goals this year, he had 26. But he had 30 the previous 3 years before this one. So if you're a fan of any of these three teams, Toronto, Anaheim, Winnipeg, Colorado, what are your thoughts on potentially getting into some sort of a bidding war for Jonathan Toews? And do you think your team would benefit from the services of a 37-year-old who at one point was the best two-way center in the entire NHL? We can't go out there and start scoffing at Jonathan Toews, man. This guy is one of the best players of the 2000s, and I think there's a lot of people that remember just how dominant he was in this hockey league. He was never unproductive in his years as an NHL athlete, even in the years post-long COVID. It's not like he was terrible. 31 points in 53 games played isn't the worst in the world. But at the end of the day, it's going to be up to these teams and whatever money they decide to dangle in front of Toews' face to sign him. It's probably not going to be a lot. Maybe it's sub $1 million. Maybe it's only 1 or 2 years long. Who knows if he's earned the right to get any more than that, but I personally would doubt it. So with that in mind, I want you to let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. What are your thoughts on the Montreal Canadiens in this trade update with Logan Mailloux? What are your thoughts on Toronto, Colorado, Anaheim, Winnipeg potentially being in on the Jonathan Toews sweepstakes? The comment section is your floor. Let me know what you're thinking about all this stuff. But for now, I hope you enjoyed this video. Sign on, and bye.